It was only after our first night in Tuba City, being stuffed full of fry bread and mutton stew in the last episode, that we truly felt like we were in Diné Bikéyah. After the post office, we hopped back onto US Route 160, a highway that runs through so many important towns and places in Navajo Nation. It is also well trodden by non-Diné tourists, many of whom are traveling between the south rim of the Grand Canyon and Monument Valley to the northeast, and probably beyond to Moab if they are touring the wider region. This morning we are only spending a bit of time on it right at the beginning, as far as the dramatic Elephant's Feet Formation, which lives just off the highway. These erosional remnants of Jurassic and Entrada sandstone could not look more like their namesake and are worth a stop.
All things that glow in the dark. 2 steps from the edge, moving closer. In the deep lies the pond of disclosure. With tears in my eyes, I hold on to the fire inside.
After this, we backtracked the 2.5 kilometers to the Tonalea General Store, which is also the home of the small community's post office. From here, we are headed north on Indian Route 21 to Kaibeto. If you are new to this channel, I should explain that we often design our route for road trips around the location of post offices. We have always liked this strategy because it lets us see all of the places along the way that represent the country, the state, and down to each community. Being on a main street is much more rewarding than traveling high speeds on an interstate. Even when the speed limit is 65, 2-lane highways have such a more intimate connection with the lands they traverse. The Kaibeto post office is inside the Kaibeto market, which is attached to the town's only gas station. It is basically the only business around, and therefore quite a busy gathering point. It is in places like these that an initial odd stare turns into a friendly conversation when I tell people what I'm up to. Traveling is much more fulfilling when you have stories that are more than just what went whizzing by in the windows. For a moment, let's return to this idea of post offices. For this trip, it will take us to many remote chapter houses that we might not think to visit with a normal itinerary. Navajo Nation has 110 chapters, and each has its own community center in this form. Our next stop is the Navajo Mountain Chapter House, which is the home to that community's post office and takes us on one of the most beautiful drives of the trip. Even more rewarding is coming so close to Navajo Mountain and then wanting to learn everything about it and why it is so sacred to Diné people. You may have noticed already, but this same enormous mountain that we saw from the west in the last episode has also been guiding us as we travel north today. Since we left Tuba City, it has been looming in the distance through the windshield. Now it is like we could reach out and touch it. As you approach, you can absolutely feel its power. Shortly after we recross the border back into Utah, we come to the chapter house. I ask politely to go inside for a photograph and once again meet friendly people who are proud of their home and welcome me in. We never would have had the experiences of this drive up Navajo Mountain Road and meeting these people, however briefly, had we had an itinerary that relied on the usual spots. After descending into a canyon, we find the Shonto post office surrounded dramatically by red cliffs. From this picturesque setting, we have decided to continue on the unpaved section of Indian Route 221, despite the National Park Service's warning to avoid in all caps. The road starts with a steep, one-lane climb out of the canyon. At the top, it levels out, and the rest of the road is graded pretty decent. It has been dry for a while, so this more direct route to Navajo National Monument is a fun alternative. We will leave that part from the paved road, so this allows us not to do any backtracking. I can see why the warnings exist though. I would not want to be trying to cross this way in a rental car if it were soggy and rutted after a summer monsoon. The back entrance of the monument is near the historic ranger station. This allows you to take the Canyon View Trail hike to the visitor center, or you can keep to the North Rim and explore some of the rock formations on your own. We will be taking the mostly paved and popular Sandal Trail from the visitor center in a bit, but this side allows for some really peaceful moments to yourself, as not many seem to come out this way. The views over Betatakin Canyon and further east are pretty stunning, and and somehow even better when the only sounds are the whistles of the winds. After checking out the great models and learning what we can in the visitor center, it is time to set out on the Sandal Trail. While this park is now called Navajo National Monument, and their language takes precedence in signage and naming, the places you can explore here were inhabited by ancestral Puebloans. Sometimes called Anasazi, the Diné word for ancient ones, this term is viewed as a pejorative by some and not favored. Modern Diné people are not the same as the ancestral Puebloans, but there are many lineages traced back by today's clans, as well as to Hopi, Zuni, and San Juan Southern Paiute peoples. A round-trip hike on the easy Sandal Trail is just over 2 kilometers and drops down to some viewpoints over Betatakan, a cliff dwelling that translates to ledge house from Diné. There are 2 other cliff dwellings that make up the National Monument. If you have more time, you can visit Keet Seal on a 27-kilometer round-trip hike. Inscription House, the third, is currently closed to the public because it is a bit more fragile.